thank you, Paul, and also thank you for my invitation, so that I can share with you some of our research finding the study of the Dongzhuang water resource management. Actually, I'd like to bring you to the other side of the border to look at some of the major issues in the management of water resources along the Dongzhuang River that may threaten the long-term supply of water in Hong Kong. As our water supply department chief has just mentioned that in this slide that whether it's a myth that we are safe with our water supplies on one hand. On the other hand, whether Hong Kong should play a larger part in the protection and the conservation of water along the Dongzhuang River. How should we play a part? But before that, I'd like to give you some of the pictures about the Dongzhuang water management, about this conflict of using water. Actually, our message is that there have been a lot of grievances in the protection of Dongzhuang water resources in the upper part of the river. If we don't take care of these grievances and find an appropriate way to solve it, it may threaten the long-term conservation of water resources along the Dongzhuang River, and eventually that may be threaten our supply of water. So here, Hong Kong may be expected to play a larger part in the end. Actually, I think it is we are not feel strange that actually some of the cities in the upper part of the rivers, like Xinwu and also Hoyuan, has already come to Hong Kong to address this issue, their grievances, and ask Hong Kong to try to play a particular part. So we hear in our presentation, actually these projects I've undertaken it with Professor Y.S. Lee at Hong Kong University.
Carlos, whether you can speak a little bit closer in the microphone,
okay.
because then this gentleman here, but also in the bar, they can hear you better.
Okay, thank you. I don't realize that. So, first of all, I'd just like to bring out that the changing political system in China that may affect the bureaucratic coordination and collaboration in China. In the past, we have the conception that China is an authoritarian state, so everything was top down, and local levels will go with this, would go with the central prescriptions without any challenge. But today we find this has been changed because of the political reform, which allow local jurisdiction to have greater autonomy. So China, although it's still a unitary state and a authoritarian country, it become more fragmented. So actually, you can see that increasingly the coordination takes different shape. It's more instead of top-down following instruction, it involves more central-local bargaining among different governments in different locations. So the problem is, if there are two conflicts between two cities, it's sometimes difficult to resolve by them. You still have to address the issue to a higher levels. China's, because it's an authoritarian top-down country, they won't allow any negotiation among the same level. So especially in the cross-boundary conflict, for example, if there's a conflict between Jiangxi and Guangdong province, there's no mechanism for these two provinces to sit down to discuss. And also, if there's some conflict between the local government and also the provincial government, in the past it's always top-down, but today it's more involved bargaining. So that means the instruction from the provincial government down to local jurisdiction may not always follow. There's always a room for bargaining. So it's through bargaining that draws some consensus and resolve the conflict. That's the situation in Dongzhuang water basin management. So it's complicated, the bargaining relation in any case, because the decentralization of authority. So from the central perspective, the tendency is that less top-down, and ideological control has also been loosened. So local unit. So today, probably you heard more about central local bargaining, isn't it? It's the bargaining is not only central local, it's also within the province. And so the bargaining position has been the order of day today, unfortunately or fortunately. So water and bargaining. And so for water bargaining, probably if you allow bargaining, that means one scenario is that you can see that there's a lot of different cities along the water basin of the Dongjiang River. So each city has its own priority, policy in the using of water, in the protection of water, so development, all these kind of things. You can see that there will lead to a lot of conflict among different cities in terms of their policy priority. So water decisions, we can see that in the bargaining process. First of all, water is a scarce resource. Dongjiang River, although it's rich in water resources because of the economic reform and rapid urbanization, we all know that there's increasing water demands from individual cities along not only along the river basins, but also the city in the river delta regions. Every city actually, including Shenzhen, including Guizhou, including Dongguan, they all claim that they need more water. So the current allocations are not enough. At the same time, they don't want to pay more price in protected water. So that's the problem. So scarce resources, multiple users, and also we involve transboundaries. So not only along the water there's a boundary between different cities, but also it's cross boundary between two provinces. So that makes the issue even more complicated. So actually, I think Ms. Ma has already introduced this basic data for us, so I won't repeat about the drainage, mainstream also discharge of population served. So the conception of the water management go back to more how you define the whole river into different zones. So this is the hydrologic perspective of the river. Upstream is here, and midstream and downstream. So this is the more hydrologic perspective. But from a political point of view, that may not be the same. It's from the we all know that the Dongjiang River crosses two provinces. The first province is Jiangxi, the other one is Guangdong province. So from Jiangxi perspective, the upstream is in their province, about accounting for 10% of the drainage and 6% of the annual discharge. And the downstream mostly in the Guangdong province, and accounting for 90% of the drainage area and also 94% of the annual discharge. So, but from Guangdong perspective, it's completely different. You can see that they are conflicting perspective. Guangdong's perspective, they don't consider Jiangxi province at all. So, from their perspective, the upstream is in Huoyuan around in the area here in Huoyuan, and the middle zone and the downstream zone. So it's quite different from Guangdong's perspective. If they have different perspective about Dongjiang, then it will lead to the difference in the management perspective as well. So that's the basic source of conflict. You can see that. So for the GDP along different cities, you can see the conflict. Probably you can guess the conflict already. So per capita GDP in 2008.